Yo, what's going on, guys? And in today's video, I will be doing another mass review of four different, X-Beyblades. So as we know, or as you guys know, if you've been watching my later videos, you'll know that I have been kind of starting my Beyblade X collection kind of from scratch because of just getting so late into it, not really, and at first I was very unsure about what ones were good or bad, but now I kind of know what's good, but also there's just ones that I want to get that are cool, even though they might be not as that great. But yeah, we've obviously looked at these 5 in the past, which are pretty good bays. However, these are like standard release if you're an exclusively as a Karatomi buyer. But today we're going to be looking at some of the Hasbro releases for some of Takara Tomi's for those Takara Tomy buyers for some of the exclusive Takara Tomy buyers is harder to get bays, which are the random booster / random selects prize bays. I didn't plan for this to happen. It just so happened to be that the 4 Beyblades that I bought, the 4 latest X Beyblades I bought, just so happened to all fall under the category of a prize bay. But yeah, we got the first one we'll be looking at, Reaper Incindeo. The second one, Gale Wyvern, which is, both of those are in. And then we got Keel Shark or Shark Edge. But then we have the only random selects one, which I'll kind of talk about my opinions on the random selects compared to random boosters when we get to that guy. But yeah, let's start things off with the random booster bay. Now, I myself have opened random boosters for Burst. I opened the random booster with the prize bay tacked Longinus. That was my first ever random booster. I got like the green and like blue tacked Fafnir that has like this really cool like this really beautiful colored like revolve driver. And then I opened the random booster with that had the this black and purple Legend Spriggan. It had like the blue and white Spriggan Requiem. It had like the red right Astro, and it had the blue left Apollo, which I did get that blue left Apollo from that. Didn't get any of the Spriggans, unfortunately. But yeah. So obviously, yeah, I did get the Hasbro versions of these bays because honestly, I do want to try some Beyblade X random boosters eventually, but yeah. So I did get this guy at my Walmart. He was one that I was kind of hit or miss about, because I was thinking, oh, what if I get Hell's Hammer? I think Hell Hammer's really cool, but then I just realized, you know what? My Walmart's kind of dry for Beyblade, so I might as well get this one, spice it up a bit, and I gotta say, this guy really does spice the collection up a lot. He's another one of those hit or miss bays where he wins a lot, but also he can lose quite frequently as well. And honestly, the color scheme for this bay is kind of whack. We got this really like orangish red kick bit. We got this really like blackish green like outer part of the ratchet, and then like this crimson red that's like the same there. But then we got the pink turn assist blade, which honestly really makes this thing look interesting. But yeah. Here's the blade. Well, actually, because it's a CX release, we'll look at all 3 of the parts individually. So here we have the nice chip. It's got a nice avatar look in there. Avatar motif, whatever. We got the blade here, which is Reaper. It's got a more square blade, which is more compact. Then we have the pink turn assist blade, which if you want to add Reaper Incindeo to your game, there's a nice QR code for you. But yeah, the whole gimmick of this is that you can pop this frame out, is that you can pop the outer blade out, turn this around, pop it back in, and basically you changed modes. I think this one's supposed to be depicted as more of a stamina mode, and the other mode's supposed to be an attack mode. I think overall the performance doesn't really change that much in between modes. When I do like a test launch to show how like the bays perform, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to switch modes for that, because honestly there's no point in doing that when the modes seemingly are like, not that different. But then for our ratchet, we got 470, which, like I said, comes in this really weird color scheme. For some reason, they didn't choose to go with just a plain black. They chose to go for this more greenish looking color. This greenish, like really dark green on the outer part with the crimson red, which I think it would have been better if they just went black, or, I mean, just like a different color of the bay. Which, 470 is alright. The 4 ratchets aren't the best, plus when compiled with the 70 height, ultimately means that this bay is going to be easier to burst. Then we have the like, orangish red kick bit, which is really not the best. I will, so you'll notice here the kick bit, what the kick bit's all about here. It's got a more, what's the shape supposed to be? It's more rounded for sure, which means it's going to be more aggressive than passive. But it also will have stamina when it comes to those, when it comes to those, like, stamina battles against other attack types and stuff. However, due to the bay being a little bit more taller here, it's easier to burst for sure. Just from the overall performance-wise, I'm going to do a nice little test launch here, and you'll notice, like I said, it's a lot more aggressive than it is passive. So yeah, if I had to pick any of the first CX Wave bays, I'd probably recommend this, or I'd recommend Courage Dran. But yeah, this is all about, this first bay review, all about Reaper Incindeo is now done. We'll get in, and I don't know what volume random booster he's the prize bay of, but yeah. But next up, we got our next prize bay from random booster. Honestly, I don't even know the volumes of these things. This might have been one of the first no, this was like the second random booster, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Gale Wyvern is going to be the first and only stamina type in my collection currently at the moment. So yeah, this Beyblade is often pretty well known as being one of the more poor performing ones when it comes to being compared to things like Shadow Shinobi and Rhino Horn. It's better than those, I think people would agree, but also it's one of the more light Beyblades, as well as it just has some really interesting part choices here. But yeah, so let's get into it. We'll go part by part. So first off, we have the Gale Wyvern. Oh geez, this ratchet does not want to come off. First off, we have the Gale Wyvern blade, and it comes in this really nice green. I've always been a fan of the color green. It's my favorite color, in fact. And I love when a Beyblade comes in a really nice green color. And I love this, like, design as a whole. It's really great. And this Beyblade in the anime is owned by Warden, of course. The former team member of Mako Mayoden, aka Team Persona's, like, teacher, basically. Yeah. And, of course, anybody who wants to get this bay into their app who doesn't have it already, there you go. But yeah. You will know, and one thing that makes this layer extensionally lighter is just due to how more thin the metal parts are, as well as that you can see there's some major gappage here in between a lot of the sections of the blade. They mainly incorporated this kind of design due to aerodynamics and how aerodynamics help stamina types, but in reality it just makes it super light and easy to throw around. But then this next part was a interesting choice to give this thing, because next we have 580, and 580 is probably one of the more worst ratchets. Due to it having 5 separate protruding parts, it's really easy to burst, plus with the 80 height makes it incredibly tall, which makes even more burst prone compared to other opponents. in our last one, we have gear ball, which is nothing like the regular ball bit or free ball. In fact, it's literally probably the worst out of all three of like the ball bits. And yeah, it just really doesn't have a lot of life after death, and on top of that, when it comes to out-staminaing opponents, it just doesn't really do the job. Plus, with how light the Beyblade is, it just gets tossed around a lot, and I heard that it's really hard to control in an actual Beyblade X stadium. But yeah, we'll get a nice little test launch going here. And yeah, you can see it's acting a little, and you can kind of see what I mean by uncontrollable. You can notice at first it was acting very, very aggressive. It's acting a little bit more passive now, but yeah, at first it was acting very aggressive. So it's a bit harder to control. Would I recommend this Beyblade for anybody who just wants to get into Beyblade X and is unsure what to buy? Honestly, I could say that it's not one I would recommend. Plus, on top of that, if you want to get this guy, you have to get him in a 2-pack. I do not remember what Beyblade he comes with in that 2-pack. I believe it is Tail Viper is what he comes with in a 2-pack. Yeah, it's Tail Viper. It's a defense type version of Tail Viper that comes with the needle bit. So I don't know if I'd recommend this or not. It's easily one of the more skippable ones. But yeah, let's look at, we did mention Mako Miyoden in that Gale Wyvern section. So yeah, let's look at her first Beyblade she introduces. Keel Shark or Shark Edge. This guy was easily one of the most killer releases when it came to the first releases of Beyblade X. Obviously, Takara Tomy has released Scale Shark, which has been a massive improvement to this Bey, which really didn't need a lot of improvement. I believe it uses the same, like, ratchet and bit, but the layer itself just makes it a lot better. This Beyblade is really great at attacks and bursting other Beys. However, here's where the problems come in, stamina-wise. The stamina is not that great. And plus, on top of that, it just gets out-stamina'd if you're against other attack types that hit harder or just have a lot more stamina. In my opinion, though, this Beyblade is actually great, and I really love the color scheme on this Bey. But yeah, we'll go through all the parts here. And starting things off, we have the Keel Shark layer, which has this really nice purple going on it. And of course, as we know, the whole idea of the Beyblade is supposed to be getting these upper attacks here. These upper attacks. It's kind of like Rage Longinus in a way. How Rage Longinus was all about those upper, how it was more of inclined to those upper attacks. Very similar in a way. And due to this blade being lower, it's going to make it easier to burst your opponent. So a really good competitive attack type layer if you're going to do competitive Beyblading. Then we have 360, which comes in this really nice purple color scheme. Like I said in the Pearl Tiger review last video, 360 is really great when it comes to competitive use, mainly because of the fact that this is makes the Bey incredibly burst resistant, and on top of that, 60 is just the neutral height, so it's not like 70 or 80, where it just is incredibly taller. Then in our last one, we have the only low the low type of bit in my collection, but we have low flat. So yeah, this is the low version of the bit that originally released on Sword Dran, the first ever X-Bey released. Yeah, so like I said, this bit just has no type of stamina. Great at attack though. It's not going to be a great replacement for things like low rush or just regular rush or gear rush. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a gear rush, but I don't know. But yeah, this Beyblade part isn't the worst, but also it's not the best. Oh yeah, and I forgot, anybody wants to put Keel Shark into their X Hasbro app, there's a nice little code there. Feel free to anytime I bring these codes up on screen too, feel free to pause if you are unable to get them at first. So that's what I do with a lot of videos, is that I'll try to get the code, as they're showing it off, but then a lot of times I'll have to pause because I couldn't get it in time. And then, I forgot, I gotta do a little test launch here. So, here's a nice little launch. You'll notice just how aggressive this guy gets. Yep. And yep, this is going to showcase the stamina a bit here. Just gotta wait for him to die down. Yeah, you'll notice that it just has no stamina whatsoever. Plus on top of that, I've noticed that whenever it really gets in like stamina battles like this, when it gets in stamina battles in this stadium, a lot of times for some reason it gets stuck up here. But I think it's because of the sticker. It's probably a sticker's fault. I don't know why I decided to put a Rockstar energy drink sticker into my Beyblade stadium, but it doesn't really influence performance. I'll have a Beyblade with amazing stamina chilling on the lower part, and then I'll have one chilling on like the sticker, and it'll still win against the other Beyblade. But yeah, let's look at Mako Miyoden's second Beyblade in the Beyblade X anime, which she introduces in the first episode of Season 2, which I gotta say, I'm really excited. I watched the first episode of Season 2. I'm really excited to see what kind of character Tenka is going to be in the show. She's the owner of Samurai Saber and Samurai Caliber, or whatever that new one that's really tall is. But yeah, these two Beyblades are incredibly rare to find. If you want to buy this guy online, holy crap, this thing is like $27 on Amazon, I'm pretty sure. Which it's crazy, because this one is like one of those like little single boosters. It comes with just the Beyblade, no launcher, so it's not like a starter set. It doesn't come in a 2-pack. No, it's just a single release, which means that ultimately $27 is way too much. I mean, you have better chances at buying a few random boosters and somehow getting it than just buying the single. And this guy's really rare to find too. I was lucky enough that my Walmart actually had a pretty decent restock, I'd say. They got like the new wave of singles. I didn't see any new waves of 2-packs or starter sets, which I think the starter sets were mainly like the CX bays, and then probably a few other of like the UX bays or something. But all I know is that this thing is hard to get. I've heard so many people talk about how, and just YouTube videos and stuff, how like all these Baytubers talk about how it's super hard to find. And honestly, I knew that when I saw this thing I had to pick it up. So yeah, let's get into it. So I will say about performance-wise about this guy, he does win a lot, but then he also loses a good majority of his battles as well, which means he's another hit-or-miss release. But he comes with some really decent competitive parts. Starting things off, we have one of the heavier Beyblade X blades, which is Tide Wale, which comes in this really nice color scheme of this like turquoise, like bluish green color. There's a nice little code. And yeah, this guy, I really do like the design. He has 5 main curved contact points. So ultimately he's going to be really good at like those more recoily smash attacks against opponents. However, this is where we have one big issue. He has, like I said on Gale Wyvern, the same part, 580 in this like purples, like dark purple color scheme. 580 makes the Beyblade incredibly tall, and on top of that, with the 5 protrusions, makes it easier to make contact the ratchet, and it makes it easy to burst. So yeah, this makes the Beyblade tall, which means that you're not getting those heavy smash attacks when you're probably getting, again, you're probably only making contact with maybe this blade here at most. None of these, like, major, like, contact points are even being contacted. However, then we have probably the most, one of the more competitive parts of this release, the elevate bit. However, there's just one issue with the elevate bit. It's only competitive for one specific combo, and that is the Cobalt Dragoon combo. Because of the fact that it's left rotating bay, it ultimately means that this bit helps the bay, I guess, last longer against right spins. However, when you have it on an actual right spin, this thing is a lot more aggressive than passive, and on top of that, with this also adding some height to it, it ultimately means that the Beyblade is just super tall. It's super easy to burst. So you're looking at a competitive part that's good for one specific combo, and a really good competitive blade that's good when it comes to multiple combos, if you can find the right ones. But yeah, with a nice test launch there. And yeah, you'll notice, just like I said, Axel, a lot more aggressive. I will say this, due to the rounder shape, elevate does tend to help the bay out stamina. But yeah, I'll get some battles going here. First battle we'll put these two against each other. Alright, there we go. Ooh! Look at that, an extreme finish. Alright. We'll do one more battle between these two. Alright. And ring out finish. We gotta do a tiebreaker though. They both won one battle. And yeah, you'll notice this bay has kind of similar performance to Dran Buster. If you don't get those good attacks, this thing will just die. Alright, next up we'll do a nice little test battle with these two. So let's just set that there. And it looks like Reaper and Incindeo will take the win on this one. Next up we'll do a battle with these two. We got Pearl Tiger and Gale Wyvern. Yeah, you'll notice how this thing it's so tall that it just gets knocked over so easy. Next up though, we'll try to get a pretty crazy battle going here. Alright, we got Soar Phoenix or Phoenix Wing against Sharp Edge. Damn. Holy crap. I always love battles between these two because they get crazy attacks on each other. Oh! It's over here. Extreme finish there by Soar Phoenix. And actually, yeah, well, let's do a little update. Just to update on Soar Phoenix's condition. Here's how it's looking. Not so beautiful anymore. But yeah, this was a little review here on keel shark, tide whale, Reaper incindeo, and gale wyvern. Here's what the X collection's looking like so far. And also, if you wanna like get these bays for yourself, I mean, honestly, you could probably find a good majority of these guys on Amazon for a decent price. I know for sure this guy's decent price on Amazon, but if you're gonna look for a Beyblade for a decent price when it comes to this one or this one, maybe try eBay out. Maybe you could find one used for a decent price. But again, actually, if anybody actually wants to get like any of like the newer wave stuff, Amazon just put out a bunch of like the newest waves. So we had like, so there's like the Golem Rock starter pack, there's the Fox Brush CX starter pack. There's even some of these Hasbro exclusive CX bays like Antler Stag and what's that? Wriggle Kraken. And as well as I believe there's also like a booster, a single booster of like a Nightlands recolor. So yeah, definitely check out Amazon for a lot of these like newer wave Beyblades. Oh yeah, and the Ghost Circle 2-pack. If you want to get another Beyblade that's a random booster prize bay without having to spend hundreds of dollars on bays, check that one out too. So yeah, definitely thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one, which will probably be another big review of multiple Beyblade X bays, just based off of all my more recent videos. Yep, and see you on the next one.